everyone, welcome back, dear viewers, to a brand new episode of your show, The Untold. My name is Daid Al-Hutari, and today's episode is going to be a lot of fun, dear viewers, especially if you are into music, because we are about to meet a music teacher, composer. This guy is a lot of fun. He knows how to play a lot of cool music on the piano. Yes, I have to mention he's a pianist as well, so this is going to be interesting. We are going to get to know more about him, about his career, and also, by the way, he was born in Kuwait, so it's very interesting story. Just stay with us, dear viewers. We are about to meet Mr. Frederico Francisco. All right, dear viewers, we are back again to the studio with Mr. Frederico. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All good?
Yes.
Are you excited? Because I'm excited. I saw the keyboard and I got excited.
I'm very excited too.
All right, so basically, let's start with introducing your journey to being, a pianist, or the journey in being a musician. After all,
sure. So I grew up in a family of musicians. My dad is a guitarist. My mom loves to sing.
Yes.
And I started learning piano at the age of 4, and I think it's never ending since then. It's always been different instruments, to degrees in music, and to a music teacher currently.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So you were actually inspired by your family, or?
Absolutely.
Because
yes.
it's in the same.
Inspired by a lot of musicians outside, but also mainly inspired by my dad. He's a guitarist.
So they were like you're saying guitarist, right?
Yes.
Also your mom?
She plays the guitar as well, but my dad is the professional guitarist.
Why did you pick the keyboard?
You
wanted to be different?
I think it was gifted to me by someone, and then I think I started like experimenting at the age of 4, and I like the keyboard.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like the keyboard as well. I wanted to get one because I like to mimic. Not learn the keys and all of that. Just mimic how to play a certain specific songs. Just like in the end.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's easy.
True.
Just 2 clicks here and there.
Exactly. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun when you actually get the song right.
Yes, but then just it fades away because I don't know. I don't want to be having the keyboard in my home and it's gonna be loud and I don't have a place for it.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll be playing something for us maybe later on.
Absolutely.
That would be cheerful. But for now. Let's talk about your favorite genre in music. What is it?
I have many genres that I play in, but my favorite personally would be jazz.
Not necessarily you play. Okay.
Yeah, and I think jazz has many different cultures, different countries that play their own kind of jazz, and Latin jazz would be one of my favorites.
Nice. How about the ones you play?
I usually play Latin jazz, and I think I'm influenced highly by my dad, who's a Latin jazz guitarist. So we kind of add a Latin jazz touch to every song we play.
You guys play together, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, when it comes to composing music, so you're a composer as well, right?
I'm a composer as well.
So what's the process of composing a music?
To be composing music, I think it starts with inspiration. I start to listen to lots of music, lots of different singers, styles, different cultures, and I pick the main ones out. I pick lots of different melodies, and once I get that spark of a melody that I think I'm inspired by, then I use that one, and I add more instruments, try and connect and play different sounds, see which one fits in perfectly, and
Do you actually try to play the trendy sounds or music? Or?
Yes. Well, in today's world, you have to be trending with the music. Otherwise, it's. Classical is a genre that is slowly dying, but to get classical in today's world, you got to blend it with today's culture, and
definitely.
Yeah, and if you mix classical with like hip hop, it sounds really cool to many people, and it's loved by them more than just listening to classical by itself.
Yeah, that's why we have lots of remixes and
Absolutely.
all of these
Mashups and
mashups. Yes, they
yeah,
call them mashups.
yeah.
And you said you have to be inspired by someone to compose, right? So
True.
who inspired you actually to compose?
So I think many artists from the time I started, which I didn't notice that they were inspiring me, but until I started playing and using their styles. I think Elton John, for example, he's a pianist and a singer. Michael Jackson, I think the whole world knows Michael
King of pop.
Jackson. Yeah, absolutely. So I use Michael Jackson. In today's world, there's also Hans Zimmer, who's a great composer, and not many people know that he's composed movie soundtracks for like movies like Pirates of the Caribbean,
My favorite.
Interstellar, Inception. So the list goes on. So
A beautiful list, yes.
yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite?
My favorite composer, I think it would be Hans Zimmer.
Nice.
Definitely Hans Zimmer.
All right, so can you tell us about your experience in studying classical music at Goldsmith University at London?
Oh yeah, it was a long journey, 4 years, and I chose classical because I was a classical pianist before I chose university, and in that time, in 4 years, I learned lots about different cultures, different very interesting topics like world music, African music, Asian music, and different instruments. And I met a lot of different musicians as well in my degree.
Nice.
And
they're in the same field, right?
yeah, in the same
get the
field,
chance
but
to meet them.
not necessarily the same instrument, because there were singers, trumpet players, so all mixed, but everyone is musician.
It would give you the chance to do something together, or maybe
Collab with other, yes,
influence to do something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a fun part where it was collaborating with different musicians and.
Do you have like a certain experience something that you remember that was like amazing having?
I think, it was end of the course where all the course mates, no matter what instrument you played, we performed together as an orchestra, and I think it was about 200 musicians all together performing. So that was one of the favorite memories of mine during university.
That's nice. So how can you actually connect your music life to social media at the same time? Do you think it's supportive, or it's just something to archive your music?
I think being a performer, social media does help, and you need to be in social media to expose your music. And in today's world, social media is the strongest way to, expose yourself as a musician, composer, anything you need. Social media is the key, and composing different kinds of music and pleasing different kind of crowds at the same time. Old music for people who love old music, new music for people for the youngsters, and classical for someone, jazz for someone. So social media speaks a lot about that.
So speaking of jazz, you did your master in jazz performance, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that was my favorite part, because the classical degree was more theory based. Okay. And less performance, but the jazz was more performance based. So that's when
I perform.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's when I got with many musicians, and we did lots of jazz, and I found out new instruments. I had to compose as a jazz musician, so it gave me lots of, it opened new doors for me to as a jazz musician. So it was an unbelievable experience.
And like getting a master is a huge deal. Right?
Absolutely.
So how did you feel actually afterwards?
Well, as compared to my school grades, which were not so great, having a master's was like, it was
something.
I was proud, yeah. And my parents, obviously, my father being a musician without any degrees, it was cool to say my son has a master's in jazz. So yeah, that was one of the things that mainly inspired me.
That's nice. So when it comes to classical and jazz,
yes,
right? How can you blend these together? In compositions.
Yeah, I think that's the most fun part about composing, because I have a little of everything, both classical and jazz. Classical is where the theory applies more, and there are certain things like arpeggios, and where a person can look at me performing and say, he's a classical musician. But then on the other hand, I use freelance and compositions and improvisations, which is in jazz. There's more freedom to, do whatever you want. So a jazz musician will be saying he's a jazz musician, but then be confused because I'm using both classical music. So that's the fun part. I can use both genres and compose a song.
Only professionals would tell the difference, right?
Yes. I mean, if someone tells, I will be very, shocked and surprised. But mainly professional musicians would be.
Do you remember that the first time you played something in front of a crowd, you performed?
It's been a long time, but yes, I used to do.
So, because I was about to ask, there's a fear of stage, there's a fear of camera.
Oh yes.
So
yes.
I wanted to know that your experience the very first time.
I think the first time I performed it was in a school and a concert where I kept having these cold feet, and I'm thinking, what should I do now? And but as the years went by, I think it started to go away. It's not gone completely yet because
you still get that.
I'm
maybe
more of
for
a
the first
performer,
few seconds, and then
yes. And once you perform, it's just that moment. You have to perform for like maximum of like 3 hours. So you will have it for just 3 hours, and then the day goes on.
All right. So you mentioned you performed in many countries, many places, right?
Yes.
More than 25 countries, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So which one stands out more, like memorable? Like you still remember, and it's.
Stands out more. It would be, I think, one of my favorite performances would be for the BBC, which is in London, obviously, and it was a show where I met lots of famous artists, celebrity artists in the changing rooms. I mean, that was the only place we could see each other, and I saw people like Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, Sam Smith just walking around, while
Did you get the chance to talk to them? Or
No, I didn't want to because I was supporting an artist and I didn't want to be taking pictures around when another artist is performing with me. So I had to respect that.
Nice.
So yeah, one of my most memorable
This is the most memorable
experience. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So back when I wanted to get myself a keyboard.
Yeah.
There were like two ways. I studied actually music lessons.
Oh,
I
okay.
took music theory. I learned how to read notes.
Wow.
I forgot everything because there's no practice, right?
Yes.
So again, when I thought of buying a keyboard to start mimicking videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
To play again a certain music. So people mentioned that there are like two ways, and I'm asking you as a professional. Now, if I wanted to get a keyboard and just mimic the notes instead of reading, would that be okay for anyone to do that? To do so?
Oh,
would
yeah.
they become professional just by memorizing the notes, or it has you have to be reading?
Yeah. In terms of mimicking, I think what you're saying is the word used here is transcribe, where you try to listen to a song and you try to play it, and that's a skill. Because
that's a different thing.
That's a different thing. But it all comes to being a musician. So you can be professional by reading notes, or you can be professional by hearing a song and playing it. So I think hearing a song and playing it is where I had a gift, where I could just listen to a song and perform it.
It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult, but I think as the years went by, it became easier because I became a better musician, and practicing more, makes perfect. So practicing how to do it just kept me going. And as a classical musician, I learned how to read. So I can do both, read or listen to a song and play. But most people can either read or they can do the other thing. So, which is listening and playing. So
Nice.
it really depends. If you think you can listen to a song and play, go for it. Buy a keyboard and you can absolutely do that and be professional.
I got excited a little bit. Maybe
is.
afterwards, I'm
It
gonna
is,
go and get me one.
Definitely, yeah.
All right. So for now, let's take this quick break, and then we will be back to ask more questions.
Sure,
Right.
no worries.
Round of applause.
Thank
That
you.
was beautiful. That was interesting. I didn't expect you actually to play something Arabic. So that was Amr Diab, Habibi.
Yes, it was.
Right?
Yes.
But what's the second one? It was a mashup you mentioned.
It was a mashup, yeah. The second one is actually a Spanish tune, which was later on sung by Arabic singer, and it was called Yalla Bina Yalla.
Yalla bina yalla.
Yeah,
All
that's it. Yeah,
That's nice. Yeah, beautiful.
yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
this brings us to the question that what brought you actually to Kuwait?
Not many people know that I was actually born in Kuwait.
You were born in Kuwait.
Yes, I was born in Kuwait, and I studied at the British School of Kuwait.
Mhm.
And later on, I went to do my further studies in music in London. That's where I lived for 11 years.
Okay.
So that was a new home to me. But then 11 years later, BSK wanted me back as a music teacher.
Mhm.
So they told me, hey, we have a vacancy. Do you want to come back to Kuwait? I was like, yeah, sure. I have my master's now, so I can come back and work with you guys.
So you went back to Kuwait as a music teacher, right?
Yes, yes.
You teach piano or any other instrument? Or
I
just-
teach primary school, so
Mhm.
I teach piano, guitar, flute, violin,
Mhm.
and many other percussion instruments, because obviously they're small kids, so they want to be, fascinated with many instruments, and so I teach music, and also I do teach sports as well.
Please go ahead and give us like a description of your day as a teacher.
Okay, my day as a teacher. So in school, I teach primary and I teach early years as well, which is little kids from the age of 4 and 5.
All right.
So with them, it's teaching singing, it's teaching enunciation, how to pronounce the words.
Mhm.
It's also teaching English, because most of them at that age don't really speak English.
Mhm.
It depends. There's few of them who speak only Arabic, few of them who speak only English. So I have to speak very slow, teach them the words and how to pronounce it. And
What words do we need in the music? Like the notes you're saying?
no, when you're singing a
Oh,
song.
the singing, okay, the
Yeah,
lyrics of the song.
Yeah,
okay.
lyrics of the song. So there are some lyrics, like for example, they may not know words like mountain
Mhm.
or any. So they're just singing any word, but they don't know what it means.
They
So
don't know what
I
they
have to
mean.
make
Well,
it
we
a
used to do
story
that
for
then.
them. Yeah, exactly. I used to do that too. So I have to make it a story for them, then make it a song, and
Nice.
that's teaching little children, and then teaching primary is with different instruments. Then teaching senior is with a band, for example, 5 of them playing different instruments, playing together. So
That's very
and
beautiful.
then it could be also teaching sports in between, basketball, volleyball. So I try,
Some action in between.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't just teach one subject. I get tired of it. So yeah, I like to mix it up a bit.
When it comes to, you mentioned now different ages, right? From 4 to, going
19, yeah.
to 19.
Yeah.
But each individual have different background, culture.
True.
How does
True.
that influence you, and how can you approach the students with different cultures?
Yeah. For different cultures, it's very important to slow down on my teaching, respecting different cultures, trying to understand them. Also celebrating their cultures is very important. I mean, in a country like Kuwait, and me not being a Kuwaiti, for example, I teach music, but when I play Arabic song or a Kuwaiti song, the students be like, "Oh, mister, you can play an Arabic song." So
This just happened here.
yeah, and I get fascinated that they get fascinated about such small things. So I try and learn more Arabic songs which they will like, or even, for example, sometimes we have foreign students like a German student, for example.
Here in Kuwait?
Yeah, we do have in different schools. We have South African, we have Korean. So I try and, as a teacher, I try and learn their background, the artists they like, and I try and play to them so they will recognize something which they like. So it will inspire them and
That
fascinate
would
them.
actually grab my attention, and I'll be a student if you just play
Absolutely.
something just like the Pirates of the Caribbean or any of the
Yeah.
music that I like.
Yeah.
Or, I will just ask you to play more, and maybe I would like to ask you to teach me. I guess this is a good way to
To inspire someone and
inspire
make them
people.
learn the instrument and have passion for it. Yeah. So
Yep.
it builds up their passion,
And
So-
what's the most rewarding part of being the teacher?
Most rewarding. I could say so many things about rewarding. Is seeing the. It's a long process, you know, from start of the academic year to the end of the academic year. But you see students learning and being inspired and learning new instruments and talking about music, slowly and gradually using music terminology, and
You'll feel proud.
yeah, you just feel like, wow, I can't believe I was the teacher to that student. And or even going to the supermarket and being yelled, Mr. Fred or Mr. Melo, you know, and you'd be like, oh, that's my student. But the worst question is when they'd be like, do you remember my name? And you'd be
That's
like,
the
you're
most
teaching
difficult part.
thousands of students, and you'd be like, oh, I don't know what's his
I mean,
name.
I know you, but you know, I don't. Remind me. I go ahead and
Yeah,
remind me.
but before reminding, I would say, who can forget you and be like, yeah, it's me, Ahmed. I'll be like, yeah, I know Ahmed. You know, so you know, you kind of use those tricks, but it's rewarding to see them grow and be fine musicians, or see them in their own career, but also remember me as a music teacher. So that's the best rewarding part.
Did
Yeah.
any of your students become something like?
I could name. I mean, there is one of my students whose parents were actually in the Olympics recently, in Paris Olympics.
Nice.
And watching my students' parents on TV was like, you know, I know that person. That person came to me to speak about their student, and now they are on TV. So it's so amazing. And I also have another student by the name Sama Jarak, who will be participating for Kuwait in the skating competition in
Nice.
September. So it's, you know, it's so proud to be a teacher and have met that student, teach them, and be their teacher at some point.
Nice. But when it comes to music, did they like continue the path of like being a musician?
Well, the thing is, I've been in the industry only for 10 years, so my students have been
Still,
they're still
quite a
14,
lot, yeah.
15, so they're still growing up to
Still.
be, and I do have some of my students who are singing, and I see them on social media, so, you know,
Oh,
it's,
nice.
it's proud to see them like, wow, I can't believe that's my student.
That's a
So
start. Yeah.
even if they don't choose music as a career, you know, it's one of their favorite hobbies, and that makes you proud as a music teacher. So yeah, definitely, it's something rewarding.
All right. So when it comes to music classes and school and university, whatsoever, how important do you think it is to be in schools and to be taught to students?
Music education.
Yes.
Personally, I feel music education is one of the most important subjects because students look forward. You know, you go to school, and if you see your timetable, I have maths, I have English, I have science, I have. It's just pressure increasing on pressure, and
then you see music.
yeah. So they'd be like, okay, we have time to breathe, or you know, they look at music as a fun subject, and to be honest, not only it is fun, but I think music opens students' minds and it inspires creativity. And it helps them to think in different ways and unique ways. So if I tell you, can you compose a song for me? Can you play me 5 different notes, or can you say 5 different words for me, and I'll make a song from that? But the words came from you. I will just join it. So you know, you're using your mind to
Creativity,
think exactly. So I think music builds a very high standard of learning in music education in schools. It's definitely needed in schools, from my perspective.
It is important.
Yes.
I would agree with you as well.
And there's fun ways of learning music. Maybe some students didn't have a fun music teacher, but you know, it depends on the teacher as well. You have to make the
Of
subject
course,
fun.
that's for every subject.
Yeah, true. For every subject. Yeah.
Right, so as a performer and a teacher, how can you balance these two roles? And it's a huge responsibility, right?
It is. It's not easy at all. I would say, being in Kuwait, teaching is my first priority, and as a performer, I have missed, I would say, many opportunities as a performer, and it does make me sad to a little point where I'll be like, I could have been there traveling around the world performing with this artist, but as a teacher and teaching students every day, I think I like that. It's my passion to teach and inspire students. So would I do that or would I do this? It just depends on what I chose, and I chose to be a music teacher. So as a music teacher, I get many holidays, and in my holidays, I try and perform in places where I could have been a performer. So I try and use that free time to perform.
I mean,
But,
you have an audience with you all the time, the students.
I try to exactly. So they wait for me to perform, and Mr. When will we see you perform? When will we see? So that in mind helps me to organize my time and keep these set of Christmas, winter holidays for performance, or the summer holidays go and perform somewhere in another country with someone. So.
Well, this is really amazing. We really wish you best of luck in your journey as a musician and also
as a
teacher, performer.
Yeah.
And regarding performing, can you do something for us before we conclude the episode? Because it was very beautiful, and of course, all the staff, they're looking forward to listen to something else.
Absolutely, I would love to perform for you guys.
You can go ahead and just give us something.
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys. Thank you.
You heard the guy. So that was the end, dear viewers, of this episode. It was amazing. He played a lot of cool songs. I didn't expect him to play something Arabic. I mean, he's a teacher here in Kuwait, so most probably this is the best thing a teacher could do, just as he mentioned, because it will grab the students' attention. They will love to listen to his music and his classes. So it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed this episode and this interview. We hope that you did as well, dear viewers. And of course, we're going to catch you again more and more with more episodes of The Untold. Stay tuned, and we hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.